Thank you, Dave. It's 7:34 a.m. 1380, The Answer, and I am very pleased to have joining us right now. I believe he is coming to us from down in the San Fernando Valley. It is Stephen F. Miller. I got sent this book here just last week in the mail called Get Dismissed. No Brainwork Required. It's that simple. Get your traffic ticket dismissed without going to court. And if you listen to this program regularly, you know this is a big issue with me. Steve Miller, welcome, by the way. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Phil. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I got to tell you, Steve, it first came up over a parking ticket of all things. You know, the last traffic moving violation I got was I was 12 over the speed limit in my hometown of Folsom, and it cost me almost $400, which I thought was ridiculously excessive. But then a couple of years later, I get a parking ticket, and I see even on a local parking ticket, we have the state of California packing surcharges on there. I guess they figure if you're going to get in that guy's pocket, can you get in it for us too?
Every municipality, every county, every city has to add on their additional fees onto the base fine. Where, for instance, like a cell phone ticket, people think are $35, $40, but by the time you're done with the first cell phone ticket, it's $162. And that's because all the local and city and county fees and taxes that get added onto that base fine.
The courthouse construction fund and all these other things that get tacked on. And again, it's just because, hey, we have an excuse to tap this person's account. Let's tap it for all we can get. It seems to be the attitude.
Well, what it really is, I think what it really is taxing. It's another way to tax.
Oh, sure.
The citizens of California. And, in fact, traffic ticket revenue is the number 2 revenue generator in the whole state of California, right behind sales tax. So they use traffic tickets as a way to generate income, as a way to increase taxes without actually increasing taxes.
Steve, I'd never heard that figure before. Are you telling me that this state generates more in traffic citations than we do in state income tax?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, and I believe state income tax could be the number 3 or 4 revenue generator in California, behind sales tax and traffic tickets. It's ridiculous.
Before we get into the method that you prescribe for getting out of not every traffic ticket, but most traffic tickets, what's your background, Steve? How did you come to get involved here? Are you an attorney?
No, I'm not an attorney. I only play one on TV.
Or on the radio.
Yeah, or on the radio. That's right. Yeah, I'll give you a quick little history. Actually, I am a CPA by training. I worked for Deloitte Haskins and Sells before they merged with Deloitte and Touche, and then I went out on my own. I was in the internet business for years before the .com bubble burst. And about 12, 13 years ago, my brother actually came to me because I've been in the internet business for years, and he got a traffic ticket, and he knew I was fairly smart, business, financial, things like that, and we took a look at the ticket, we turned it over, and we read our options. On the back of the ticket, it said, you can go to court and contest. You could pay the fine and just admit you're guilty. You can take traffic school. But the fourth option was something we never heard of, and it's been around since 1978, and it's called a trial by written declaration, which is a way to contest a ticket without going to court. We never heard about it, so we figured, hey, let's try it. Well, we tried it with his ticket. It got dismissed, and we said to ourselves, hey, there could be a business here helping people contest traffic tickets and open up their options to them so that they don't have to go to court. So that's sort of a little Reader Digest version how I got into it.
Okay, and it has long been, I think people frequently view it as an option for the driver who gets cited. I can go fight this in court, and chances are that the citing officer is not going to show up. That's the hope when you go do that. What you have found is a way for you to similarly contest it, and you don't even have to go appear in court.
Yeah, well, going to court and hoping the officer doesn't show up is probably one of the biggest myths there is about contesting traffic tickets. Officers get paid time and a half. They like overtime. They like money, as do a lot of people, and they will show up in court. It's very rare that an officer doesn't show up in court. And if they do show up in court, you unless you bring in an attorney and paying, $1,000 for his time for the day, the chances of that ticket getting dismissed in court are very, very slim. As a matter of fact, and just to give you a little background, what happens in court is you go to these courts and you have 200 people there, 300 people there sometimes, a lot of people, and the first thing that happens is the bailiff stands up and he says, hey, anybody here eligible for traffic school, tell me now, and let's get you out of the court. The reason they do that is because it costs the state more money than the actual fine for every person that presents their case in front of the judge. That court time is very expensive in California, so they want to get everybody out of the court. So backing up here, the officers do show up, and with this other option of a California trial by written declaration that allows you to contest a case without going to court versus an officer showing up and getting paid overtime, officers are not paid extra to respond in writing to a trial by written declaration. And most people know that, officers don't like to do paperwork, so there are many times they do not respond to those declarations.
So this is a method of challenging your citation that, unlike appearing in person in court, may actually work in that most of these folks are not going to take the time to respond to this trial by written declaration. Let's get to the nuts and bolts. How does this work, Steve Miller?
Okay, a trial by declaration is a regular court case. It's just done in writing. Now, the important thing is that you have to know what to say, and really more importantly than knowing what to say, you have to know what not to say, because 9 times out of 10, anybody doing a declaration on their own incriminates themselves by saying things they shouldn't say, like, hey, I was speeding, but I wasn't going that fast, or the front end of my car barely passed the limit line, that's why the light went off. Well, you're admitting guilt by saying that. So
right.
It's important to know what to say, and more importantly, to know what not to say. So these forms, the trial by declaration, you put your case together, you put all the relevant facts together, you can cite case law and other things, and what happens is you package it together. You have to post bail, which is a whole other topic we can get into when contesting a ticket, and you attach your bail, which is the same thing as the fine, to the trial by declaration, and you submit it to the court. Now, when submitting it to the court, we recommend that you mail it in by certified mail. That way you have that little green certificate saying the court received it. Right. Because there are times where the court does misplace documents, and this is your proof that it was sent in to the court. They get the trial by declaration document. It gets sent to the officer. The officer responds to the declaration or doesn't respond, either way. Then your side goes to the judge, their side goes to the judge reads both sides, renders their decision. So you can get the ticket dismissed based on the facts and circumstances of the case, and you can get the ticket dismissed by the officer not responding. So there's several ways it can get dismissed.
In your experience, what's the response rate on the part of law enforcement?
I'd say, in comparing it to the officer showing up to court, which is probably 95% the officer will show up to court, I'd say that the officer is about only 60, maybe 65% likely to respond to a declaration. So your odds shoot way up just by the officer not responding to a declaration.
And is there a downside in submitting a trial by written declaration and you lose? Is it going to cost you any more?
And and that's the beauty of the declaration. Again, it's been around since 1978, and as much as we've been trying to evangelize, contesting a ticket with a trial by declaration, very few people know about it and the benefits of it. Now, the benefit of a trial by declaration is that you do not eliminate your right to have your day in court if your ticket is not dismissed. So, for instance, let's say you do a trial by declaration, they find you guilty. You're right back where you started, and you can still go to court to contest the ticket just like you would if you just went to court originally. So this is one of the only ways in the California court system where you actually get 2 bites at the apple. In addition to that, it does not eliminate your right to traffic school if you're eligible for traffic school. And remember, you can only go once every 18 months. So there is no other system in the California court system that provides you such flexibility and benefits to contesting a ticket and trying to get it dismissed before you actually have to waste your time in court.
And when we come back, because I've got to take a break, can I keep you for one more segment?
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. You guys, if I understand correctly, you've cooked up a mobile app that simplifies the process?
Yeah, we've been doing this for 11 years, and recently we developed a mobile application for iPhone and Android that allows the driver to take a picture of their ticket, take a picture of their driver's license, answer a few questions, and within a couple days we generate the trial by declaration for you. You print it out, sign it, send it to the court.
We'll talk about this a little more when we come back. Our guest is Stephen F. Miller, author of Get Dismissed. And we'll also touch upon, this does not apply to every violation that you may commit behind the wheel of a car. We'll have more with Steve Miller right after this. It's 8:15 at AM 1380, The Answer.
When he's not wine tasting, he's right here. Phil Cowen on AM 1380, The Answer, and Money 105.5.
Which means I'm here all the time. 8 minutes before 8, our guest is Stephen F. Miller. Sorry about the Steve Miller joke, Steve. It wasn't me.
Well, I fly like an eagle and make a little jungle love sometimes.
That's right, and you're living in the USA.
That's right.
There you go. But Steve has written this book called Get Dismissed, in which he proposes that for a lot of traffic citations, you can beat them by challenging them with a trial by written declaration. Now, you make clear in the book, Steve, to be fair, that you need to distinguish whether or not what you're dealing with is a simple traffic violation or whether or not you have committed a misdemeanor or worse, in essence, committed another crime behind the wheel of your car, because those are going to be responded to.
Absolutely. The type of tickets you can contest using a trial by declaration are the basic traffic infraction type. You're talking speeding tickets, stop sign tickets, cell phone tickets, red light camera tickets, U-turn tickets, carpool tickets, those type of tickets. If you are reckless driving, if you're driving without a license, if you are intoxicated behind the wheel, or underage, or any type of other type of traffic citation that is not an infraction, you cannot do a declaration. You have to go to court for that.
But if you do have a simple traffic citation and the fine is one you don't want to pay, and given what I've seen of fines in recent years, I have a daughter that was going to school in Santa Barbara who twice got tickets coming to and from. Steve, they were almost $500 a pop.
Absolutely. Those tickets, depending upon the speed, depending upon which county you're driving in, because they do vary, as we talked about, different fines are added on, get very expensive, and the most expensive tickets are actually those red light camera tickets, which is a whole nother issue as far as whether they're legal or not, but those are upwards of $500 also.
I have another daughter who got one of those just outside LAX recently. But anyway, my kids, I'm telling you, there's just no controlling them.
I know what you're saying.
But this mobile app, tell me more about this, because and where we can find it, because it sounds as though you have created an app where you can start this process before you have even pulled away from the curb.
And absolutely, and it's never too soon to contest a ticket. Now, the mobile app is called Get Dismissed, G-E-T, I can't spell today, GetDismissed, and you could find it on our website, GetDismissed.com, or you can download it from the Apple App Store, Get Dismissed, it's all one word, or on the Google Play Store. And what the app does is it's the same thing that you can do when you're depositing a check at a bank. We use the same technology, in fact, the same vendor to integrate into our app as far as the OCR recognition for the text and everything. And you can take a picture of your driver's license. It captures all the relevant information. Take a picture of your traffic ticket. It also captures the relevant information, the speed, the courthouse, the citation number. And then it walks you through a series of questions. And after that, submits the information to us at Get Dismissed, and we take a look at the ticket, your driver's license, the facts and circumstances. We put together the trial by declaration completed based on your facts. It's uploaded to your account. You log in, You print out the trial by declaration along with instructions. It tells you exactly what you need to do to it. And it's an editable form. If you feel you want to add a few more facts to it, you're welcome to change it up in any way you like and submit it to the court. And it does take, and so people know, and this is something that confuses people sometimes, let's say your court date is on June 30th. As long as you get the declaration into the court before that due date, you do not have to go to court. However, that does not mean they're going to rule on your case that day. This is just the date that you have to get the declaration into the court by. Then, as I mentioned, it goes to the officer, back to the judge. They rule on the case. In most cases, by the time the court gets it and rules on the case, it's 30 to 90 days after you submit the traffic ticket. So don't expect to hear back immediately. It does take some time.
My last question, because I'm going to have to let you go so we can get to our top of the hour news here, Steve, is are you tempting fate here? Because if everybody starts doing this, won't the state compensate? And hell, if they have to, they'll hire a staffer who does nothing but reply to these.
You know, that's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that question, because my belief in doing this for 11 years is that the California traffic system is overloaded. Too many people are in court. It costs the court too much money when people show up. I believe that they appreciate people contesting a ticket, if they're going to contest a ticket with a trial by declaration, because it actually saves the state money by not having people show up in court. And in fact, I believe that not in the near future, the next year or two, but I bet in the next 10 years that they change the system to require you to contest a ticket via a trial by declaration before going to court, just because the state doesn't have the money to handle all the people that want to go to court.
Yeah, and that I hope you're right about that. Again, it's GetDismissed.com. Go to the website. I assume there's a QR code that'll take me to my appropriate mobile store so that I can get the app?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Stephen F. Miller, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the book. Next time I get a ticket, and I hope I don't, I'm going to try this. Thanks, Steve.